Yo, what it do, everybody? This your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. This is episode 27 of the 11:30 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. What's going on with everybody out there? Appreciate you guys joining me here for a new episode. You dig, man? Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners out there, man. Appreciate you guys coming back to Talk Pro Wrestling to hear me talk some pro wrestling, man. For real. Shout out to all my listeners all over the UK, all over Germany, all over Canada, all over the world, all over the states, man. For real, man. DC also. Hope you guys went out, man, and vote, man. We still trying to figure out who this daggone president is, man. But yo, on from that, man. We're gonna talk some wrestling. This is gonna be a real cool episode. You dig, man? I got my guy Dre, aka Big Baby. Yeah, from Brooklyn, New York, man. I hope I did that right. From Brooklyn, New York. He's the host and the creator of Yerrrsportsshow, man. He's going to be joining me here in just a bit. It's going to be a fun one. Before we get to that, I want to shout out my guy who was on last week, Shane Taylor, Ring of Honor Shane Taylor, man, the baddest champion in the game right now, man. He was on last week by phone. Appreciate you, my man, for joining me here on Talk Pro Wrestling, man. It was an honor, it was a privilege to chat it up with you, for real. And also, shout out to my man, Tyree Taylor, for sending in the video, man. Smooth dude, man. Real smooth dude. Appreciate you. Tyree Taylor going to be joining me here to chat it up on the podcast, man. So that's going to be fun. But you guys, man, I got my guy, Dre, a.k.a. Big Baby. You know, great minds think alike, so you know we got to link up, you know. Dre or Dre on Wheels, you know, we about to do the damn thing, though. But you guys, man, like I was saying, from Brooklyn, New York, the host of the Yerrrsportsshow, man, Big Baby. What's going on with you, homie?
What's going on, Dre? What's going on, brother? Thank you for having me on.
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you wanted to be on the podcast, man, to chat some wrestling, man. How's your day going so far?
So far so good. Ran a couple errands, so got that out the way. Got a few more to run later on, but that's life. Got to get outside while you can during this pandemic.
Yeah. I hope you staying safe though. How Brooklyn, New York right
now? We're all right. It's just certain parts are red zones. I'm not going to get into why because I want anything crazy, but other than that, it's pretty good. I heard you mention earlier Shane Taylor and Tyree Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Tyree Taylor is my guy too. That's a real good friend of mine.
Yeah,
he's dope. He's dope. People.
Yeah, he was on the show about like a month and a half ago, maybe two. Really great guy. Really funny though. So Tyree Taylor, man, good dude, and also definitely. Shane Taylor, man. But like I was saying, you the host and the creator of Yerrrsportsshow, man. But before we get to that, real quick though, you mind just for the viewers who may not know you though, introducing yourself just a little bit or telling me something about you?
Got you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dre, aka Big Baby. I'm the host and one of the creators of the Yerrrsportsshow. The Yerrrsportsshow is a New York-based podcast. Let's say the birth of the show was December of last year, so we're almost coming to a year anniversary, and our first episode was January 13th, 2020. I am the host and the moderator. I am joined by my guy BK Matt, the Queen Tavia, and the voice of a generation, Pete Rosado. I've been a big sports fan for most of my life. I've played all sports. Basketball has been the love of my life forever, for the longest time. That's the sport I excelled in for the most part. I played from elementary school all the way up to somewhat semi-pro. And I do a lot of coaching on the side, and that's about it for me. Huge wrestling fan. I love the part I love about wrestling the most is a lot of it is the storytelling, but before the storytelling, it is what goes into the story, like the behind the scenes stuff, what makes everything run. So that's the part of the wrestling business that I completely love. And shout out to the Jobber Tids Network, Sir Wilkins, Mr. Black, Janelle from HR. They just had their episode today with Shaw Guerrero.
Okay.
and we're also sponsoring the GCW event in December, where she's going to be on the show. So look out for that. And just shout out to the rest of the network, Cats and Dog. I'm not Cats and Dogs. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. The former Cats and Dogs, Two and a Half Bros, Talk of Champions, of course, the Jobbertays podcast, us at the Yerrrsportsshow, and we got a new show that's debuting sometime tomorrow. Can't speak about it, but yeah,
Okay, man, that seemed a lot of fun, man, for real.
yeah,
You was talking a little bit about GCW, man.
hmm
Man, they doing some really good stuff. Some really, really
yes,
good stuff. I was
yes,
talking to referee Sean O'Brien, who worked for GCW. Man, he put me on to some couple of matches, man. I was talking about it on the
mhm,
podcast a couple of weeks ago.
yeah,
If you heard about the Invisible Man versus the Invisible Stan,
yeah.
yeah, oh man. Man, oh man. And the Joey Janela, where he wrestles the Invisible Man in the social distance match. Man, if
uh,
anybody haven't seen that, you got to see it, man. You would
yo,
enjoy
yo,
it.
it's the thing about see, and that's the magic of wrestling because, in terms of wrestling fans, we're in our own bubble in a way,
Exactly.
and the things that we think are cool and funny
Hmm.
aren't cool and funny to the people on the outside world, but because we're this circle and we're this bubble of people who who get enjoyment from just character development, storytelling, the actual wrestling, stuff like that may sound crazy, may sound dumb to most, but it's funny.
Hmm.
Kenny Omega was wrestling a broom. He was wrestling a blow up doll. We've seen in invisible man matches before where somebody took a Canadian destroyer from an invisible participant. So it's just stuff like that. It's fun. It's fun. It may not make sense to most, especially old school wrestling purists like Jim Cornette and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But
Mhm.
for the most part, it's fun. It's fun now.
Yeah, it really is, man. Very, very entertaining. Another thing, man, on your podcast, you mainly
Mm-hmm.
talk about, mostly sports and everything. You're a big basketball fan.
Yes.
Who's your team?
Um, I am a former Knicks fan. I've
Oh,
retired being a Knicks fan when they traded everybody to get Carmelo Anthony. Um, then I became more of a Nets fan. Now I was always more of a Knicks fan than a New Jersey Nets fan when they were in Jersey,
Mhm.
but because I loved Jason Kidd. But as things start to progress through life and the Knicks keep nicking, I was like, all right, well, the Nets are in Brooklyn now, and I have an official borough team. I'm gonna go with Brooklyn, and I've been happy ever since. No, we haven't won championships, but the team has been building, and I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, they're doing some work. They're doing some work.
Yeah.
It was cool that my Los Angeles Lakers won the championship this year.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
crazy
Congratulations.
circumstances though with the bubble though. But yeah, man, it was a dope NBA season. Really,
Yeah.
really dope. You said you're a big fan also of wrestling, man. I
Mhm.
want to know how long you been a wrestling fan and what was the moment that hooked you.
Um, I've been a wrestling fan since I was, let's say, 10 or 11, and I remember seeing my first wrestling tape that I ever saw was WrestleMania 5, I believe. It was Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man in the main event. Uh, a lot of people, a lot of legends on that card, the Rockers,
Mhm.
a lot of people on this card.
Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase, the Red Rooster. It was so much good stuff on the card, and just the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan story. A lot of people say, "Oh, that match is in." That's why they put the belt back on Hogan. But the story of the mega powers colliding was really good. It was better than what most people think it was.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
um, but the moment where it really clicked for me was so my favorite wrestler is Diamond Dallas Page, and
Okay.
it clicked for me when seeing when Nash and Hall tried to recruit him into the NWO, and Diamond Dallas Page diamond cuttered Scott Hall and ran into the crowd and then put the diamond up. Like it was amazing. Like it's definitely a moment where I was like, wow, this is so good. Like,
Mhm.
and I was back and forth between WCW and WWF at the time, but yeah, and I was more towards WWF, but a lot of times I would catch Nitro because Raw was on cable, and where I was at didn't have cable at the time, so I would catch Nitro on basic cable, and then
Okay.
Thunder on basic cable too.
Okay.
So
That's what's up, man. That's real cool. I really didn't catch a lot of WCW. I do remember that moment though, because I've seen a lot of clips of it. I have a
yeah,
whole anthology of DVDs, and
yeah,
once the network came out, that was my best friend. I was always on that, just watching some old school stuff, man.
yeah,
Because when you see that in '97 or '98 and '99, you don't see it no more unless you got old recorded tapes, in a box set where you can go back and watch it. But yeah, man, I've been a wrestling fan since I was 9 years old. Be 30 at the end of this month, man. And The Rock is my favorite. I know he left, went to Hollywood though, but man, it's crazy though. But man, your podcast, I really, really digging it, man. Episode you guys were having, I understand, with you, Queen Matt,
mm,
and Pete. I think Peter.
yeah, Pete.
Pete, yeah, Pete. You guys were talking about, the Roman Reigns and Uso storyline right there, and you
Yes.
guys had some really, really great points. I think it's the best storyline right now going in WWE.
Hmm.
You also talked about how you're a big fan, and what draws you in also is the stories. I'm a big
Hmm.
fan of the story. I thought it was really, really crazy that the match went on. That match itself, Roman and Uso, at the start of the show, but I believe it was a lot of things may be going on television right now. So
Hmm.
that's WWE's main story. I guess they wanted you to, we're going to start it off with that. Man,
Yeah.
what a way to start it off with. It's a petition right now going around for Roman Reigns to win an Emmy, for the acting that he did in that. I was just glued to the. I was actually watching it on a laptop, but I was
Yeah.
glued to it, man. I'm just like,
Hmm.
everything about it. What was your thoughts on it,
So we us at the Java Tiz Network, we do viewing parties every month for multiple pay-per-views, whether it be usually WWE and AEW. So we did the Hell in a Cell viewing party, and we're all sitting there, and we're like, "Oh, this match is first."
man? Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us ordered food. We were waiting for food, and we were just glued to the match, like to the point where like some of the servers were kind of just looking at the screen every time something was going on. And by the end of the match, we were all like, "Yeah, let's go home. It's over. It's time to go home."
Exactly.
It,
Oh
it,
my
and
God.
it was 8:30. It was 8:30.
Yes,
It was time to
yes.
go home.
That's
Like,
how I felt. That's how I felt after that. It was like that was the whole show. Like
yeah,
I'm gone. And I said to myself real quick before you finish, I said, I hope this rest of this pay-per-view don't be trash. Because they started out with this good match, and please don't let the rest. I had a good feeling, but it was good though. But you can
yeah.
go.
I think with the Hell in a Cell pay per view anyway, they should have started with Drew and Randy, but because the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is the championship, I get why it went on last. But even Sasha and Bailey could have went on last, and it wouldn't have been so much of a oh, what is this? But in
Mm-hmm.
terms of Roman and Jay, they're building Jay to be so legitimate, especially after what happened on SmackDown with Daniel Bryan. I love where they're taking Jay Uso, and the biggest point that we made 2 episodes ago or the episode before was when Jimmy comes back, can you keep Jay Uso strong as a singles competitor? Um, and that's the biggest point we're looking at. Roman is money,
Mm-hmm.
as Tay says. Roman is money. I can't wait to see how that progresses, but I'm more concerned about Jay Uso and his progression, and that it's not stunted when Jimmy comes back. Because we brought up how ROH and the what are they called? The Briscoe brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You can see they're both talented as individuals, both winning the ROH World Championship, and they can still be together as a tag team and be strong. So, and you can put any one of them in a singles and be like, oh, this match is going to be good, or this person might lose to one of the Briscoes. I want to see if they can do that with Jay Uso and maybe Jimmy Uso down the line too.
Okay, that's real interesting. Another thing y'all was saying on the episode, uh, how it's the story is mafia like, especially with Roman Reigns, no yelling, just real smooth everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally think with Jimmy when he come back, and with the whole Samoan story, I
Mm-hmm.
I think they gonna recruit, Jimmy and maybe they have a single run also. I am interested. I'm excited, but I'm interested to see where it go. Queen also said, "What about Naomi?"
Yeah, my thing with Naomi, because she's outside of the SmackDown bubble, I don't think it's really too much going to affect her because the Hurt business is still she is still looking like she may join the Hurt business at some point in time, which would be fine. Keep the two stories separated, especially for Naomi,
Okay.
but you still have Tamina on SmackDown. Tamina would benefit way more than Naomi would, honestly, by being in the Samoan dynasty because one, Tamina is by blood related and the cousins to the Usos and Roman. Also Nia Jax. You have to think about it like that too. Nia Jax right now is one half of the women's tag team champions, and they can float between shows. I wouldn't be surprised if a story turned into Tamina and Nia becoming the women's champions and joining the bloodline. That was something I want to see too. But you never know. But I don't think Naomi has too much stake in this storyline right now, especially since Jay Uso, you know, is aligned with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in there, because you guys said that. And I
Yeah.
was also thinking of Naomi, she was drafted to Monday Night Raw. Haven't seen too much of her, but, since it's a family storyline based, even though Naomi, not Naomi, but Tamina fits well right into it. And
Mm-hmm.
Naomi is of course, just married to Us. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that'll be really, really cool. Of course, hopefully the big payoff. Are you
Mm-hmm.
interested in seeing The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
I am. That's the money match everybody wants to see. And of course, I would hope that they write it as Rock putting Roman over, even though Roman is over,
Mm-hmm.
but you make Roman look even stronger by him defeating one of the original breadwinners for the family, one of
Okay.
the people who put Samoans on the map outside of Alpha, Sika, and High Chief, and Yoko and Rikishi. We got the one of the most famous Samoans of the Anoa'i family.
Mm-hmm.
So beating him would be amazing for Roman.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And it was also cool at Hell in the Cell seeing Roman uncle and his father come out to
Yes.
kind of like solidify him as the tribal chief right there.
Mhm.
Man,
Yes.
beautiful. That was really,
Beautiful.
really beautiful, man.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But if we do get The Rock versus Roman Reigns, Rock is my all-time favorite. So,
Mhm.
but in this story, man, I gotta go with Roman, man. Because where the
Yeah.
momentum is hitting at, and it's all the way Roman right now. Since we're on the SmackDown side, what's your thoughts on the Bailey and Sasha Banks storyline that's going on right now? Is it going on too long right now, or
It's time to wrap it up. It's
okay?
time to wrap it up.
That's what I thought.
Tay was saying it too. I agree with her too. It's time to wrap it up. And push Sasha to a different spot. Have her
Okay.
defeat Bailey. and retain and have her have a lengthy reign. Even if like a lengthy reign. I'm not saying she has to be champion for 2 years. I'm just saying long enough to where it's like, okay, you have some respect on Sasha Banks' name, because out of the four horsewomen, Sasha, even though has some, like, I believe the third most reigns or second or the third most reigns between those four, but she doesn't have uh, a women's title defense outside of the women's tag team championships. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have lengthy reigns outside of the women's tag team championship reign, the recent one. So it's time to end it, and maybe at some point in time you turn Bailey back. Maybe you don't. You keep her like this for the remainder of her time. I don't know, but I don't think my thing is with Sasha. I don't think her as a baby face would be sufficient for her character. Maybe an anti-hero, not so
Okay.
much a baby face. She could be a tweener, but yeah, being a baby face and continuing on, no.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for this to go ahead and wrap it up. They've been doing it mostly the entire spring, the entire summer now, and it's fall. I said it on a podcast numerous of times.
Mm-hmm.
I was really against Sasha Banks coming back this early after getting her throat slash neck crushed by Bailey. I would be like you said, man. I'm a fan of the story, man. Like back in the day, man, the story was, man, something happened like that. It usually, they would go take some time off. They need to
Mm-hmm.
film in a movie, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she was doing that. I think she's on the Mandarin or something like that on Disney Plus.
The
And I think that's,
Mandalorian, yeah.
yeah. And I think that's why they got her back right now. And also as a SmackDown Women's Champion. But I'm a big fan of let the story, milk it. I know it's been going on for some time now, and it's time to wrap it up. But if you guys was going to do that, I think Sasha should have been out for a little bit longer, maybe return at the Rumble, won it, and that's where she took the belt from her. A
Yeah.
big payoff, but I guess, hey, they ain't want to wait for that.
I think with that, it's because they're feeling pressure without Charlotte, without Becky,
Mm-hmm.
without Ronda still.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, do we build for the future or we continue the story and run it to the ground? My thing is Bailey has beaten almost everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, without thrashing the NXT women's division, you can get a few challengers from there, a few baby faces from there. Maybe have her and Io Shirai wrestle for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But find a way to keep Io Shirai strong. Um, stay away from what is her name? Um,
Rhea Ripley.
yes, have her stay away from Rhea Ripley, because Rhea Ripley doesn't need to lose to Bailey or another main roster superstar. Um, you have options. You have
Mm-hmm.
options that they could have used, but if they're wrapping it up tomorrow, perfect.
Okay. Cool, man. Cool. Speaking of NXT, you guys were also talking about NXT and Survivor Series. With NXT not being included in Survivor Series, I think it's interesting this year that they don't have it. And I was listening to all you guys' points, man. It would have been great. Roman and Randy right now, just alone. We've seen that match before. Now they both, are heavyweight champs. Maybe in a week or two, they start getting to build towards that match, I guess, because they've been doing it with the United States Intercontinental Championship match and the tag team match. Or the tag team title. So they've been doing that. So Roman and Randy, and then you put Finn in it, So I think Finn is just going to be there just to get the pin on, because I don't think no one is going to pin. Well, at least I think the Fiend is going to come in and distract Randy Orton, and then Roman is going to get, the pin on Finn Balor. And then with the women's joint with Io Shirai, you got Sasha and Bailey, these two big characters. They've been beefing all year long, and you add Io in the mix. You know, she just kind of like, hello, like I'm standing right here, like,
Right.
So I know she, not, a joke champion. No, she's vicious, but I don't know. And then another thing I think is the main reason why, because of the coronavirus, having all these talents under one roof, and it's a whole lot going on. So, but what's your thoughts on it? Why they not doing it, and would you want to see it?
So, my thing is, one is probably because there's no crowd. That's one reason probably why they're not doing it. Two, yes, I agree. The coronavirus, too many talent in one spot can cause an outbreak. And three, the NXT brand is looking pretty strong, and you really don't want them taking pins against Raw or SmackDown talent, especially somebody like Finn Balor. Finn Balor has defeated Roman Reigns before. I believe he has faced and defeated Randy Orton before. My thing is, he's injured, so that's not going to work anyway. But even if he wasn't, you don't want to put Finn Balor in that position to take the pin. You don't, because now you're devaluing the NXT championship on somebody who was already devalued when he was on Raw and SmackDown. So you don't want to do that. Now, in terms of the tag team championship matches or the
North American Championship,
and maybe the Women's Championship, you can do some of those, and those would be very exciting matches. I just don't think Finn being in the mix with Randy and Roman is beneficial to Finn.
Exactly.
Because you can have Io Shirai defeat Sasha Banks or defeat Asuka, or you can have her lose, and because she's strong enough to lose right now. Finn isn't. The tag team championship match, I see with that, I would just keep that the same with New Day and and the Street Profits. So in the North American Championship, see the women's the women's championship match would be the women's match would only be the only one I would like to see as a triple threat. Everything else is like
the tag team one would be very interesting. You got the Street Profits, New Day, and Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. Now they are SmackDown. NXT tag team champs with the hard hitting tag team that they are. So I think that would be another one that I think would be very interesting. But with the North American champion Johnny and Bobby, I don't think Johnny would fit in with Bobby and Sam. I don't think that would be a very interesting one. But yeah, NXT is doing this thing. But you guys, man, here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, I got my guy Big Baby from Brooklyn, New York, here on Talk Pro Wrestling. You guys, man, sit tight, you guys, and stick with us. We're going to take a very, very short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more NXT, some AEW, a little bit Impact, just some more wrestling, man, here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling.
When it comes to growing your podcast, it's tough to know where to start. That's why Anchor gives podcasters the tools they need to make each episode better than the last. Now, Anchor Analytics includes new stats from Spotify to help you better understand who's listening and what they like about your show. With charts that let you see how far people are making it into each episode and where they're dropping off, you can plan your podcast around the content that performs best. Hover over to see how many people are tuning into specific segments and learn what hooks your audience by comparing the average listening time across multiple episodes. Using anonymized demographic data from Spotify, take a granular look at the age and gender of your listeners to start tailoring your content or targeting new audiences. Track analytics from multiple platforms and Spotify insights. Everything you need to grow your podcast, all in one place with Anchor.
Yo, you guys, welcome back here to the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Appreciate you guys sticking with me through the commercial break. I got my guy Big Baby from the Yerrrsportsshow, all the way from Brooklyn, New York, chopping it up here with your man Dreonwheels, talking some pro wrestling. Before the break, we was talking about NXT. We're gonna keep that rolling, but NXT UK particularly has been doing this thing right now. They back, of course, they ain't got no audience, but the main matchup, the NXT UK Championship match that took place last week for everybody out there in wrestling land who haven't seen it, need to see it. Check it out. Walter versus Dragunov, the hard hitting matchup. Oh man, like Dragunov didn't quit. He didn't tap out. He didn't, get pinned at all. The referee just had to stop the match because these guys were chopping each other chests off. Big Baby, you seen the matchup, man? And if so, what was your thoughts on it?
That match is what wrestling purists love to see. It takes a lot for Jim Cornette to like something, and Jim Cornette loved the match, but that's not why I liked it. It was more or less like, again, the storytelling, and you can see the trust between the two opponents, and just the fact that they put it all out there, crowd or no crowd. That's a potential match of the year candidate, which isn't being talked about as a match of the year candidate for some reason, but it definitely should be on the top of the list as a match of the year throughout all of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the same. I don't think it's no surprise that NXT UK pulled off this match. It was a hell of a matchup. They just came back, about September-ish or something, and here they go pulling off the match. They've been promoting it since they returned, and I didn't even think nothing less. I knew Dragunov was already going after the NXT UK title. Walter and these guys haven't wrestled in so long. So they was just leaving it out there. It was like, man, like I haven't felt, a slap, a chop, or whatever, a bump in so long. So these guys just went out there and tore the house down, man. It was crazy. I loved it. I really loved it. Probably ain't gonna see the guys for a couple of weeks though. So yeah, I'm really loving what NXT UK is doing right now. On to NXT, regular NXT. Cameron Grimes. I gotta ask you, what's your thoughts on Cameron Grimes?
My thoughts on Cameron Grimes?
Cameron Grimes.
His character is amazing. His character is amazing. His facial expressions are dope. How he moves in the ring is just good. Just really, really good. Great at that. I'm glad he's being used more. When he was first brought to NXT, it wasn't much use for him, but now he's basically in the NXT North American title hunt for the most part. They're quote unquote mid card, so and just him being able to tell stories with other talent, he's so good, and he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is.
Yeah, man, I'm really digging him. I think that's my favorite guy right now in the NXT. I love it. Last week they did Halloween Havoc, and I think it was Loomis. Loomis. He had a matchup with Loomis, and he was just scared his ass off. The referee in the matchup was a zombie. So this past week he had a matchup with Kushida. So then the referee came down, and he just looked at the referee and was like, he just tapped out right there. It was just hilarious. Like he just
the zombie ref.
Forget my arm though. This referee is a zombie. Like I gotta go. Like that's my guy right there. I really love it. Over the top character, man. Very, very over the top. Another thing with NXT that was pretty cool. Tony Storm and Chauncey Blackheart tore the house down with, of course, also in the main event, Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream. A main story on NXT right now that's been going on for a couple of weeks now. I want to hear your thoughts on the Pat McAfee storyline with the Undisputed Era.
It's good. We know it's leading up to War Games, and this is the babyface run that was in the dirt sheets for the past couple months prior to it happening. Um, they deserve this run. People have been behind the Undisputed Era since the beginning. They were the cool bad guys that you would love to root for. You boo them, but you still root for them to win. Um, and they have the Undisputed Era is just talented. All of them are talented. But Pat McAfee is blowing everybody away with his promos, with everything. And to have 1-2 with him along with the Bruiserweight, this is gonna be a hell of a War Games match once it's announced.
Yeah, I'm interested though. I think Pat McAfee is just showing everything he can do. He's a podcaster. He's a former football player. He was a cameraman this past week on NXT. He pulled that long ass promo, and I was like, okay, Pat, I get it. I get it now. Okay, I get it. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
He makes you hate him.
It do. It really do. It really do. What's your thoughts on the WWE Thunderdome?
Oh, before we move from NXT real quick, Ember Moon and Dakota Kai had a hell of a match. Oh my God. They had a hell of a match. I just wanted to make sure I got that out there because I'm definitely going to bring that up on our show on Saturday, but definitely had the match of the night. One of the potentially the match of the night on NXT. Now, in terms of the Thunderdome, it's amazing that what WWE can do when they put their minds to stuff. And I think it's helping the talent more in a way because the talent can feel the crowd's energy, even though it's artificial sound. They can feel a crowd there, which makes them work better. Like I said, the Thunderdome was an amazing idea, amazing experience, and they've cleaned it up. Remember, at the beginning, people were doing all types of wild stuff on those camera screens from KKK stuff, Hitler stuff, like Chris Benoit stuff.
Yeah, I've seen it all. People.
Somebody got offed on one of the screens. I was just like, it's a lot going on.
Wow. Okay, I'm glad I didn't see that. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, no. It was a record. It was a recording. Somebody get off. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh wow, that's crazy, man. Real crazy. But we're gonna move on here on Talk Pro Wrestling. Monday Night Raw. This past week was a okay Monday Night Raw. I want to hear your thoughts on it though. But the big matchups, or the big moments of Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, was the triple threat match between Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, and Sheamus to have Braun Strowman earn his spot into the Survivor Series 5-on-5 men's elimination team. Thought that was a really cool matchup. Also, the Hurt Business taking on the New Day. That was a great matchup, especially how Shelton Benjamin, I believe, Shelton got the pinfall on that one. So that was really cool. That was really cool. Also, let me hear your thoughts on Raw first, and then I'm just going to rapid fire out at you and see what you think.
My biggest issue with Raw is sometimes they have 3 hours, but they don't tell complete stories, whereas SmackDown has 2 hours and the storytelling galore, which I've been confused about for the past couple years. The world title feud right now, with there essentially being 4 contenders, reminds me of Attitude Era stuff when you'll have Austin as champion, then you have Undertaker, Rock, Kane, multiple people trying to go at the world champion. Now I love the Fiend. I love the Fiend. Huge fan of Bray Wyatt, always have been. And the Alexa Bliss storyline, dope, super dope. But you mentioned that tag team match. Shouts to MVP, right? MVP has been putting black wrestlers on the mat this entire year, and he's not getting enough credit for what he's doing. Some people are like, "Oh, why is he only fighting black people?" Well, my thing is with that, to answer that real quick, the Hurt Business is not the Nation of Domination. People should try to get that conceived thought out their head. The Hurt Business is a group of black men who are about their business, and it's something different. Um, and the fact that they're going against the New Day, who've been so successful for the past 6 years, and they're keeping each other strong, it's amazing. So again, shouts to MVP with that. But Raw as a whole, it was okay this week. It was Raw.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I went back and I was like, like the triple threat match was cool. I really did
Yes.
get a tag team match with the Hurt Business and the New Day. Like you said, Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, I'm really digging that right there. They are just, I love it. I really love it. Like, keep doing your thing. Another thing I want to get your thoughts on, Retribution. Yeah, I know. Before you say that though, I was watching Raw Talk, and and even before this, when I found out, and once they revealed that Mustafa Ali was the leader of Retribution, I was like, okay, cool. I want to see where this goes, and Mustafa Ali been on WWE's The Bump. He talked, and the Chronicle, all that, and just talked about mainly how he want to have a story, how he wants to invest in the story, tell a story mainly. Like you said, I said, I'm a big fan of the storytelling. He broke down on Raw Talk how guys, like how he named the guys in Retribution, Flapjack or whatever their names are, T-Bar and everything, all the names and everything, because he get judged by his name. He put masks on him because people judge him by the way that he looked. So he did all of these because of things that he doing and want people to feel how he is feeling. So I mean, I love his good story. I want to see where it goes. I just like, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to where this goes, but it don't seem like it's really going nowhere.
I can agree with you in terms of not knowing where the story is going. Um, but they're doing a good job building it. Like people are like, oh no, they got squashed. Yes. You had to get them past the Hurt Business to keep the Hurt Business looking strong. But there's tons of time there's so much time on Monday Night Raw where the Retribution can still get over. It's not over for Retribution. It's kind of I don't want to write them off yet. I think Mustafa Ali as the leader helps them because he was the initial hacker. But let's see how they add that into the story too. But I honestly think that Retribution, it needs a little bit more time. Now the thing is, if that story would have been told from the start, then it's a little bit different. Maybe the story goes a whole different way.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to build them like they were kind of like the Shield, and then be like, oh, you're getting thrashed. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't. It's
Yeah.
like it is what it is. But I hope the best for them, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna move on here on Talk Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do, I want to say shout out to my man Leo Rush. He's gonna be in MLW. That's gonna be sweet right there. To seeing what he gonna do in MLW. He from DC. That's my man Leo Rush. Impact Wrestling. You say you've been dabbing in and out of it, right?
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
shout to Leo Rush. He did an interview on the Jobber to his podcast. A little bit after he left the WWE, and also he's in the Super J Cup coming up in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh
So I
yeah.
can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Um, but my thoughts on Leo Rush in general. Oh no, Impact. Sorry, Impact. Impact is so underrated. It's just they don't have the budget They don't have the budget. They put on good matches. I love that Rich Swann is the world champion. I've met and talked to Rich Swann plenty of times. I think he knows me on a first name basis now. But I love what they're doing over there. I love the knockouts division. Uh, they're doing good stuff. They're doing so much good stuff over there, and it's just a matter of being in the spotlight.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Impact is doing this thing, man. They had some great matches this past week. I was catching a little bit something. Chris Bay having a matchup in the X division. Heath Slater, he's still fighting for a championship. I think that's very entertaining. And another thing, like you said, Rich Swann is the Impact champion. He beat Eric Young at Bound for Glory. And Moose right now is kind of, basically trying to say, hey, I'm the real Impact champion or TNA champ. So, like you said, they don't have the budget though, but I'm checking them out. I'm dabbing back into it and trying to see where it goes though. They doing some good stuff, doing some really good stuff. But we're gonna move on, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap it up to some AEW. Dynamite, man, was off the chain this week. I really, really enjoyed it over NXT. Man, Jericho on commentary, in my opinion, I think
such good
gold.
shit. Such good.
Yes, man. I think he's gold, man. Especially when Sammy Guevara came out there and Twisted Fate Matt Hardy and Jericho just like, go Sammy, go, Sammy, go. Just like, just really over the top with it, though. Really over the top with it. What was your thoughts on Dynamite this past week?
Dynamite was solid this week. Dynamite was real solid this week. The tag team match, the first tag team match, MJF and Wardlow versus Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara is going to be a super duper star. People are kind of trying to sway away from it, but he has Eddie Guerrero vibes, and I know JR said it, and I don't agree with everything JR says sometimes, but this is one of the things I agree with. He's going to be a big star. I'm looking forward to seeing his match with Matt Hardy. Hopefully, this is the end of that for you too.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else is going on? Nyla Rose, please give Nyla Rose the championship back, please.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, give it back. Met Nyla Rose a few times. She's so dope, and spoke on and off with her before she even signed with AEW. She's a fan of the Jobber Tears podcast too. So shout out to Nyla Rose.
That's cool. That's real cool.
I'm looking forward. Cody and Darby Allin. I'm looking forward to that at Full Gear. But shout outs to two people in that main event. Shout outs to Billy Gunn for still being Billy Gunn. And shout outs to John Silver for being so over. It's not even funny, bro. Mm-hmm. John Silver is so good, and he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, Dynamite was off the chain. One big moment for me. The Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley promo just came off, on a different level for me. I think I didn't know that Moxley couldn't hit, or Eddie Kingston couldn't hit Moxley or something like that. That's why mainly he turned around and, he was saying the promo. I thought that was really cool. The Young Bucks came out there still selling the injury from a couple of weeks ago from FTR. I think that's going to be a show-steller match with also Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, them going at it. I really dig the storyline between Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, because Kenny Omega is he a drunk? Because he just believes it in his mind that he's great, and the only thing he got is the drink. So really digging that. Can't wait to Full Gear this coming up weekend. So that's gonna be what's up, man. That's gonna be what's up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, but before we wrap it up, man, I appreciate you, Big Baby, for stopping past here on Talk Pro Wrestling.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Any shout outs, anything you want to say?
Shout outs again to the entire Jobber Tears Network. The Jobber Tears podcast, 2.5 Rows, Talk of Champions. If you haven't watched them, they're really good. They're really, really good. Check them out on Facebook. What else? The Yerrrsportsshow, Show, of course, with myself, BK Mac, Queen Tay, and Pete Rosado, aka the voice of a generation. We're having a viewing party here in the city. Go to Legends Bar at 6:30. Please wear your mask. And temperature checks will be at the door. Other than that, check out the new episode of the Yerrrsportsshow. We're going live Saturday at 2 p.m. on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. For all your Yerrrsportsshow needs, go to yerrrsportsshow.com or just follow us at the Yerrrsportsshow on all social media platforms. If you want to speak to me about collabing, hit me up at _ it's Big Baby. I always reply. And yeah, thank you for having me. Definitely appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. You're welcome here anytime, man. Keep doing your thing, man. Wish you the best in your podcasting, on your show, man. Keep doing your thing, man.
Same to you, bro. Same to you. You're doing a lot of good things here. I've checked out past episodes, watched some of them on YouTube. Dope, real good stuff.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. If I need you, man, I know where to hit you at. Have you back here on Talk Pro Wrestling. You guys, man, my man Dre, aka Big Baby from Yerrrsportsshow, all the way from Brooklyn and New York. Once again, man, appreciate you for joining me here this week on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Yo, Big Baby, appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, man. It was a dope episode, man. Man, just chop it up here and just talk some pro wrestling, man. Some Raw, some SmackDown, some NXT, man. Just love hearing another guy, man, who just love to talk some wrestling, man. Another black guy at that, man. You feel me? You don't. For me, I don't necessarily find a lot of other black guys who or black people who are really into wrestling and podcasting and connecting with people, man. I'm really finding it. And also women. I had Miranda Morales, on the show. The only female guest who's been on the show so far, so women and, having, black wrestling fans, such as myself, to chat it up with is really rare. So when I do, that's a treat. It's awesome, man. Once again, Big Baby, the Yerrrsportsshow, everybody, Queen, Matt, Pete, all you guys, man. Shout out to y'all. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep killing it. I love the podcast, man. For real, I love it. The Yerrrsportsshow, man. Go check them out. Go subscribe to them on YouTube. Follow them. Wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, man. For real, dope episode, my man, Big Baby, man. But you guys, man, don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. You feel me, man? Subscribe to the 1130 podcast on Twitter at Dreonwheels. Follow me on Instagram at the 1130 podcast. Like the 1130 podcast on Facebook. Subscribe to the 1130 podcast on YouTube. For real, follow me and subscribe. Leave a 5-star review, rating on Apple Podcasts. I appreciate it so much. That's going to help get the 1130 podcast up and out there, even more, man. For real. And also, if you would like to be a guest here on the 1130 podcast, you can DM me on Instagram at the 1130 podcast. And also, man, you can email me. That's the 1130podcast at gmail.com. That's the 1130podcast at gmail.com. Once again, man, appreciate you guys joining me on this fabulous episode. My man, Big Baby, man, all the way from Brooklyn, New York. But you guys, man, it's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels from DC, man. Dope episode, man. Yo, everybody out there, stay safe as we wait to see who this next president is, though. But fun show. It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels, and I'm out.